so much activity just this year, right? In 6 months. So what's happening?
Birla also bought right next to his bungalow a building to knock it down and make a garden, an open space for himself.
When you have that kind of wealth,
So
you can
have
do
that kind of
anything.
stuff.
Yeah, South Bombay is all about the views.
There are 3 pockets where nothing is going to change. That is Marine Drive, Kulaba and Fort.
To a large extent, I will disagree also.
Which set of projects do you think will command the highest price in the next 3-5 years, and what that number could be? Welcome to another episode of Zapkey Open House. With Open House, our objective is to go beyond data and marry it with on-ground market intelligence. And to do so, we bring on-ground market practitioners who share their insights about the micro markets and help us get better insights of the market. Today, we are covering the market which is the OG of all markets, SoBo, South Bombay, the market where 100 crore deals are the new normal. To deep dive into this market, we have 3 guests today. Karl from Nagarwala Estates, Adit from Inside Properties, Ritesh Juthani from Terra Propex. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
This is an informal discussion, right? We'll discuss about the market. It's an informal discussion. It's not like a question and answer at all, right? So the way we'll start is we'll have a quick introduction from all of you, and then we will take it forward.
Sure.
So Karl, why don't you
Sure.
introduce?
Hi, this is Karl Nagarwala, representing our firm Nagarwala Estates. We're a boutique real estate firm that specializes in residential, commercial, and retail real estate in Bombay.
Adit.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, for having us. It's a pleasure being here. So I started my career with PwC straight after college. Worked there for a couple of years. Was getting a job in BCG after that. But a gentleman I met there actually changed my life. Hiring interview actually changed into a life counseling session for me. So that changed my life. I got a job in a sports marketing company. Did sales for 3 odd years, and then after that, the whole typical Gujarati family got into me and they told me that, listen, you worked enough outside, we are अपना भी धंधा थोड़ा चला लो लाइफ में. So my mom had started this business 22 years back. My father followed it after that, and then roughly 10 years back I joined them. Told them I'm going to give it a shot for 6 months. 6 महीने में मेरे से हुआ मैं करूँगा, वरना I am calling my boss back and joining my ex company. Had my own ups and downs, but slowly and gradually got there, and eventually loving what I'm doing right now. We typically focus on developments in Hiranandani Pawai. We look at Worli, we look at Prabhadevi, all the way up till Malabar Hill. So this is my story.
Nice.
Great.
Hi, I'm Ritesh. I run a company called Terra Propex. I started real estate way back 2010, end of 2010. Prior real estate, I was working with TAI, which is the network of entrepreneurs, promotes entrepreneurship. That's where the entrepreneurial bug struck me. I said, यार सबके लिए कर रहे हैं, अभी अपना कुछ करे. So moved out of TAI. When we moved out of TAI, I joined one of my co-founders, Soren Shah. He's more like a mentor to me. So he said, चल एक काम कर, ये ले लैपटॉप, रोज सवेरे ऑफिस आ जा और business plan leak. So we wrote down real estate plans. Try doing something for the brokers network, because nobody was there at that point of time talking about brokers network. And then we started writing plans around it. Actually, we started as a commercial real estate. जब commercial करने गए, so that's when we realized कि बस if you want to do a larger ticket, then बस you have to go international. You got to go get international mandates. That's how the things happen. So we were facing a challenge. So first 2 years were substantial challenge. At that point of time, lower parallel was kicking in and buzzing in with too many developments coming in. And that's when we said, chalo, let's try this. अपने circle में बात करते हैं, ये होता है तो ठीक है. And that's the journey started, and that's how we got into a real estate company. So when we initially started, we were operating across Bombay, right from Thane, Navi Mumbai to down south. In a journey of 14 years, we've had a fantastic journey so far. Yeah, that's
And now focusing on
then we said, when
luxury.
2016 onwards, after that phase, we said, yeah, with RERA coming in, with so many reforms coming in, the ethos of our organization is that till the time you get your keys, we are there. While we started as primary players, so our aim was very clear that we want to service you till the time you get your keys. And we started looking at luxury. Currently, we do South Bombay, we do Central Bombay, which is Worli, Lower Parel. We do Khar, Santa Cruz, Bandra, some bit of JVPD. We don't say that we don't do Thane or we don't do Navi Mumbai as client base, because
Correct.
what we changed our model from a marketing company, we are more like an advisory company. So we purely do advisory work.
The clients that you service are also wealthy and would seek advice on diversification and all of those things as well. So you keep suggesting
Yeah.
good options
We also
across the
Absolutely.
market.
secondary markets as well to some extent. So we deal in Alibag and Lonavala and villas and stuff.
So wherever your clients need
Yeah.
arise, you'll have to build expertise in some way.
service them in some
And
way.
the people that the clientele you actually deal with, it is not like a typical broker. You have to work with him. It has to be from a very consulting angle. And it
Correct. So
requires-
this one question I had specifically, given the market is a very premium market, luxury market. How do you generate demand or clients? Is there any skill set for our audience, right, or for the broker network?
So I have been trying to search that mantra since years, which I have not been able to find a real mantra. What's the right way of getting a
I
client?
think I'm a people's person, and when I I have this knack that when I meet people, I can kind of make them feel comfortable and just kind of relate to them, and that's how I think I kind of generate business with people as well. So even if I go for a party or if I go for an event, I'll end up making some kind of clients out there as well.
Very good point.
Yeah,
I,
it actually
I, I think
happens.
I think if you're ethical and you're doing the job right, then it's just a matter of time before the clients actually come to you. Of course, in the new age world, we have different forms of marketing.
So digital also works.
No, yeah, it does. So I'll tell you, when we started, we came from a very non-real estate background. So our thought processes were very different. So what we started doing is we started putting down or penning down our thoughts on an X situation or our thoughts on a product, our views on a micro market, our views on a transactions.
Marketing your viewpoints.
Marketing our viewpoints, marketing our research, marketing, the micro markets future point of view, what is happening in the micro market, if there are any kind of a retail development happening, or if any school is coming in over there. So we started doing a lot of those kind of core activities, and we built a brand in that manner. And then obviously networking is the key. Like Karl said,
Party are key.
Definitely.
Party is the key.
Definitely.
yeah,
But I think most of our business is via word of mouth, to be honest.
yeah.
90% of our business is word of mouth. Yeah. We've only been working on the referral model. Digital, literally in the last maybe 1-2 years, we've just launched a Instagram page just to get on the digital platform, and we've got a few leads which we have converted. But majority of it, if I have to say, is it's just pure referral.
Great. So good to have all your intros.
Yeah.
So I think the next section that we have is to discuss the core segment is how's the market and what are your insights about this market.
Right.
Our audience and a lot of people who look at our channel would love to know what is happening in this market. This is a market jahan pe 100 crore deals.
Yeah.
In fact, in this year itself, we've heard
Some massive
200 crore plus
transactions.
transactions.
Yeah.
There is Lakshmi Niwas that went to the Misani
Yes.
family. There is
Vijay Malia's bungalow.
Vijay
Malia's
Malia's
bungalow.
bungalow going to the
Milton family, yes.
promoters.
That's right.
K. Raheja getting a trophy property.
Today.
There is Adani getting Malabar Hill.
Yeah,
Carmichael. So much activity just this year, right? In 6 months. So what's happening?
And this is just the beginning, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's uncover this. Karl, why don't you start?
The real
What's
estate
happening in the
markets are on
market?
fire, if I may put it. I'll also speak on the rental front because I deal a lot on the rental front, and I think the rentals, not just in the residential segment but also in the commercial segment, have completely skyrocketed. Right? Things which were at 150 to 200 rupees a square foot, which was like expensive a couple of years ago, and now all 300 plus. Like you can't find an office which is less than 300 rupees a square foot plus. I think you guys can also support that or argue with that. And rentals in apartments today, to get a basic 3-bedroom apartment in South Bombay is nothing less than 4 to 5 lakhs a month.
These are which locations? If
I'm talking about Malabar Hill, Altamont Road, Breach Candy, and that too very, very limited apartments available.
why do you
And
think
the apartments that are well maintained, even though they are priced at 4-5 lakhs, they fly off the shelf. But the apartments that are not in the best condition, I mean, even those today are getting rented out, which earlier were taking much longer to rent out. Today, because the demand has got so high, with all the redevelopment, that's the talks that are happening with all the buildings, and people need alternate accommodation for at least 4-5 years. The rental market has just completely skyrocketed right now. I mean, that's my view on it.
I think one of the reasons of the sheer demand of rent, while a lot of redevelopment is happening, but I think also see that a lot of the next generation which has gone abroad has also come back, join the family businesses, because the businesses are doing. I mean, if you look at numbers of any of the industry, right, any segments, most of the segments are doing well, right? So I see, like we've been dealing with quite a few of family offices, and we see a lot of this next generation coming back to home, and starting working with the family business. So I think that's another reason where there is a sheer demand for having such kind of large spaces, apartments. That's the reason why if you look at the numbers.
nuclear हो रहा था अभी people are coming back and they're
Yeah,
pretty much
because-
more
To differ, I would say a
Yeah.
lot of people are moving out of their current home, like the
Correct.
younger generation, and they would like to stay
stay.
separately.
Oh,
The first step
correct.
to that, instead of buying a home immediately, is to rent an apartment,
Rent out.
at least to test the waters, stay for 3-4 years, and then kind of look at capital investment. That's pretty much how the rental market is right
Yeah,
now.
but the families, all families are expanding and coming back in that sense, that because
good point,
because
that you're seeing people coming back and
Yeah.
therefore needing more space,
It's-
more
yeah.
houses.
Houses.
The same family now needs 3 houses or
Houses.
2 houses. versus
Correct.
But the requirements are also changing a lot. I mean, the older generation is typically looking for like a bigot carpet area, looking to stay in the vicinity there where they've always lived for the longest time. The newer generation is very open to
Yeah,
exploring other
different options, for
opportunities
sure.
as well. They
Definitely,
want
yeah.
something which is more lifestyle driven, and they don't only care about the carpet size of the apartment.
So they come back, but they are more open to newer locations. So if you can share like what are these competing locations?
Amenities has become a big driver for a lot of people. A lot of people today want amenities in their building. The convenience of having a gym or a swimming pool in your complex is a great advantage to them. So a lot of the clients that we're dealing with today are also looking at the new build in Lower Parel and in Worli, and
Because this is not there in the
it's
in
not
the
there.
older. That's right. That's right.
Oh, the
That's
older
right, yeah.
generation always there was a club culture here कि हम लोग club में जाते
Yeah,
हैं, club में
absolutely.
बैठते हैं, मिलते हैं.
Which still remains.
Yeah, it still remains with the.
Still remains, yeah.
But with the newer generation is of course maybe are going to the club as well, but उसके सिवा उनको वो भी
Yeah.
चाहिए कि building में at least I should have the basic amenities. So they're
Yeah.
open to the idea of exploring.
So which are the locations competing or in the mind share of
I think Imperial Towers would be one of them for sure. At Tardeo, they've got a fantastic clubhouse. They've got a swimming pool.
So in South Bombay, which are the projects?
So I think,
So Imperial Tower is one.
So
Which
I
are the other
think projects per se in South Bombay,
which have these amenities and
Wallace,
Prestige Ocean Towers
Yeah,
is one.
Wallace could be one of them. Central Park has
Central Park.
at Users Road. Small amenities, but it's still there.
it's still there.
I mean, it's right there.
So one is these are the projects which offer such
Yeah.
amenities which are very fewer.
Yeah.
But because there are this audience or the generation that requires more amenities and services, which are the locations they are preferring against, say, a SoBo to explore?
I think Raja Vivaria is a
Locations can
great
be-
complex
Yeah.
for
Mahalakshmi.
people who want to stay there. I mean, a lot of MDs, a lot of CEOs stay in that complex, and it has a huge land parcel and there's all the amenities that you can think of. So a lot of people are open to going to Vivaria. World Towers is also a great property where people
So Lower Parel,
Yeah.
Mahalakshmi.
Yeah.
So Lower Parel, Mahalakshmi,
but do
till
people also
Prabhati.
go to Bandra also? Bandra, Juhu? Or that's
Juhu,
that's
I
out-
think.
that's very far.
That's not South Mumbai for them.
No, so the problem which you would say going beyond Prabhadevi is the similar problem which they would have faced here in down south. Because there again the plots are
Correct.
smaller,
Understood.
size of
Similar
complexes,
projects.
similar projects here. So why would you go there?
Very good.
Now the change which you see Worli versus Bandra, probably the ceiling has made the difference of the coastal road, which has been a game changer. So moving forward, probably if you see, probably you may see reclamation being the next big destination, or you may see Warsaw being a next big destination, because they are all going to get connected through the coastal road. So I think that will be a game changer, because they will again offer you a seafront, or rather I would say sea touch. No, so
where you can say,
I think the coastal road anyways is a game changer.
game changer, right?
Absolutely.
While Worli offers you a seafront, these are sea touch. You know, the change which you would see in Warsaw is going to be like a sea touch, a rock touch, or Bandra Reclamation is a rock sea touch, you know, which we've so far not seen it, barring out certain pockets only, right? So I think that game change will happen. Obviously, down south, if you ask me, yes, you know, for larger projects which are coming in, probably you could look at locations like Tardev, which will emerge, locations like Marine Lines, with one Prestige Ocean Towers, which has already come in.
So what I'm understanding is that because of redevelopment and, like Ritesh said, that younger generation coming back from abroad is resulting in a lot more rental
And
demand.
people wanted to live on their own independently from their families.
So that has resulted in a lot of rental demand, which is good to understand as a insight.
Yeah.
Now, just on redevelopment, right? Because you guys said that there's a lot of redevelopment and it is just started. What are your insights around that? What is happening on the ground? Because I believe that this is a very posh market, right? So members of the societies are also rich.
Yeah.
Right? Unlike maybe in suburbs where it's a need to upgrade. Here the need may not be that desperate. So how do you see redevelopment discussions and
See, I'll say the flip side of it right now. I personally think it's a logistical nightmare because there are not enough alternate apartments to give that many apartments to relocate from an existing building. Because like I said, the rental market is so heated right now. There are a handful of apartments available, and most of these redevelopments that we are talking about are now happening in Malabar Hill, Nepean Sea Road. And these kind of clients that are staying are all old school people, and they are not open to going to Bandra and beyond the ceiling. I'll be very candid with you. They would rather stay. Some of them are so fixed they only want to stay at Nepean Sea Road. Like for example, Pleasant Palace, we've dealt with a couple of people, and I've offered them Altamont Road and Breach Candy also, and they said, "Nahi, humko nahi chahiye. I want to stay only in Nepean Sea Road." Because for many reasons, like some of them are gens, all right, and obviously they want that Derasar close to them, right? And Nepean Sea Road Malabal has that, has the Derasar right there. So, like I said, it's a logistical nightmare to get so many apartments, and if all these buildings go under redevelopment at the same time, means you're going to look at least a good 100 odd flats to get. And I personally think it's almost impossible to find that. Yeah. Exactly.
I personally also feel that luxury real estate or the bigger sized apartments are on a rise. What's typically happening with Worli Seaface or Carter Road, it's going to happen same with Malabar Hill and a lot of sea touching apartments where the carpet area I don't think is going to start lesser than 2.5 or 3,000 square feet, because that is where the developer can actually command a 1,10,000, 1,20,000, 1,50,000 rupees per square feet. Typically someone looking at 1,000 odd square feet is not going to end up paying 1,10,000, 1,20,000 and pay 12 crores. As Ritesh and Karl rightly said, that if I want to pay 12 crores, rather I'll just buy an apartment in Tardev which is of 17 or 1,800 square feet, because for me that is more value for money. So I feel that the bigger sized apartments are going to be on a rise, and they are the ones who are going to command that price and are also going to get it.
So there are multiple challenges, Sandeep, to tell you about, when we talk of this redevelopment as a subject. One is, like you said, most of the people here, it's not an immediate need. They are already in a good position financially as well as a house, right? Now that is the number one challenge which is there. Secondly, obviously, is what Karl is mentioning about, being outside and things like that. But third is the challenge is, the expectations and the mindset of these two different category of resident neighbors, which is also so much of discussion. Third, which itself, like too many cooks spoil the broth, or one car and too many drivers. So that's another big challenge which happens here. So they are not able to come to a decision, right? Fourth is, with the kind of mouth-watering offers which are being floated by developers, and I am talking of developers of all category. Now, if you have a developer A listed company, a B listed company, and a C listed company, and all are offering you something which is 1 + 1, and 1+1+1. I mean, it's what would you want to go with? Whether it's now the brand, it's the more space, more money. So that's also a big challenge. So right now the heat wave is there. Everybody has been discussing how many is getting signed, how many really gets into development zone is to be seen. Again, all these developers, they are signing left, right, center, but how many will really get into execution? Classic example, he mentioned Pleasant Palace, right? If you look at it, I think it's been over 2 years plus, 2 years plus, where still it is not gone under.
2 years to.
No, it is already signed. It's all done, signed, done, everything fine, right? But look at the whole journey. 2 years back, it was there in the market that this building is getting signed, right? And today also still the building is still there.
Still standing.
Still standing. People still staying, right? Now imagine that 1,500 odd people have to move out. It's a logistical thing, right? Whereas the suburbs, the logistics is very different, because typically in a building it would have been 15, 20 odd guys, which would eventually happen in Malabar Hill also. But that whole time duration, time journey, today everything is looking nice. The markets are good. The numbers are fancy. You don't know 2 years later, because it's a down cycle, right? Anything which goes up has to come down, right? So we don't know.
You've all spent enough time
to
See that, right? So we don't know 2 years later, भाई building बनेगा नहीं बनेगा, वो जाएगा नहीं जाएगा.
But I always have this thing, and I tell this to all my clients. There's always the difference between supply and good supply. You might have 3 or 4 parameters when you are going and buying a house. It might be the square feet area, location, the views, and a lot of clients tell me कि यार online हम लोग देख रहे 15 नए listings आ रहे building के which are coming up. But I told him that when you actually narrow down your search, आपको जो 3 या 4 चीजें चाहिए out of 15 buildings, you're just going to come down to 2 or 3 that you actually like. So there is a big difference between supply and good supply that people don't talk about. People always say कि correction आएगा, भाव गिरेगा, but that only happens with average developments. It never happens with premium developments. This is my take on.
One of the challenges in redevelopment, like we mentioned about, whether we talk of the people, we talk of, general movements. Another big issue is definitely a collector land, because most of this land are leasehold lands. None of this land, some of them the lease has expired, some of them are in discussion, in disputes in some or the other category. Some landlords are only not there. You don't know where the landlord is. I mean, the landlord's family is missing, or some members are missing. So today, if you even want to do paperwork, you don't know where to go to. So this is all prolonging the whole matter of redevelopment, particularly in South of Bombay. So I think it's a matter to see how many buildings really sign, how many really get out, how many manage to get the rental apartments which they really need.
Yeah, there are a lot of
so there are
factors
too
to it.
many ifs.
To
in
ifs
the
and
game.
buts, yeah.
Too many ifs in the game.
It sounds really easy, but it's not an easy.
Yeah.
So basically, since we spoke about Pleasant Palace, it's a very rich society, and there are a lot of, I would say, billionaires living there, and they've already bought back the stock that the developer is going to sell in the market. So they've already bought 2 to 3 apartments for their family.
So the developer doesn't have much to sell only.
Yeah, so he's already sold, let's say 50% or let's say 40% to the existing people living in the building, and then rest when he launches in the market, he will sell to the open market.
And then there are speculations or reports that it's not going to be anything less than 180 or 2 lakh rupees per square feet. So let's see what they actually come up with.
So Suntech, if I may add, also has this vision. Well, they're actually launching a project which is bang opposite my office, and their vision is to launch at 2.5 lakhs a foot. And till now, the building is still standing, right? Nothing has been demolished. People are still staying in the building, so the launch is obviously.
There's like a race.
Yeah.
Who will be the highest?
It's Namanzana versus the rest.
So Namanzana is already signed that it's 2.7.
Yeah.
And now SoBo locations have to.
Yeah.
Everyone
have a trumpet. Basically, trumpet. Yeah.
Which one will trumpet, right?
Yeah.
By the way, which location is the Suntech project?
Nepean Sea Road. And it's bang on the ocean. Like, I mean, it will be bang on.
The interesting point in Suntech is, there basically it's not just one building; it's a clutter of buildings. So it's kind of go in the cluster. If you look at the way the FSI's calculations are working, right? why South Bombay was late in redevelopment, because there was no TDR which was allowed in South Bombay.
Oh, right. Correct.
The
These are
TDR was
one-
the TDR was something which was there, in suburbs, right? It used to work. The earlier one plus then the TDR and then the rest calculation, right? In South Bombay, it was only 1 to 1.33 as an FSI, which you used to get. And financially, for a developer, it made no sense because eventually you were not getting that kind of a development additional foot. Now the games have changed. So, a lot of these developers are trying to do that cluster redevelopment story of getting at least a 4,000 square meter plot.
So that FSI can be much.
So FSI can be, then they have that play to do, to do things. So Suntech is a classic example, which he's got, I think, about three odd buildings, right? 3 odd buildings, and I think the fourth one is yet to get added.
But like I said, none of these buildings, like people are still staying in those buildings.
Yeah.
It's so far off.
Yeah, it's still far off, but
I would say it's at least 5-7 years away from getting.
But it's actually a great sign because this was dominated by a lot of boutique developers. But now you see a lot of branded developers also coming with the likes of K. Raheja, Oberoi, Suntech. So, it's something which people always had in Mahalakshmi or a Worli or a Lower Parel. And now it's actually coming to places like Malabar Hill or Nepean Sea.
That's a good point. So basically what we are saying is that that in this market there is now boutique developers and then a branded rush of branded developers have come in who are trying to look at larger parcels through cluster redevelopment.
Correct.
So that, much
Also,
better products can be
also
built.
every building has 2-3 developers who are bidding for it, and then each developer outbids each other, like he was saying. So like the kind of deals that they're giving the existing customers are sometimes just unbelievable. Like you can't say no. Like some people are giving 60% more area. So if you already have 1,500 square feet, 60% on top would be another almost 2,500 square feet home you're getting in 5 years. So according to me, it's a complete no-brainer. Plus you're getting a corpus. Plus you're getting, now the norm is about 250-300 rupees a square foot, right? As rental amount, which will be given by the developer. So you can, go out and look out for an apartment for 4-5 years. So it's a complete no-brainer in terms of for a customers.
Help me understand, guys, that if such offers are being rolled out, right, and imagine these are the products that are going to come out, 3,500, 3,000 square feet. At even lakh rupees per square feet, this translates to 30 crore products.
So I want to interject for a second because Suntech, their one tower, they're planning on doing a 10,000 square foot floor plate. So that's a completely different ticket size. I mean, if you look at 2 lakhs a foot for 10,000, you're looking at a 200 crore apartment, which I don't know where we're going to get that many buyers with 200 CR to buy their apartments, but that's the vision that they kind of have put out.
I think everyone has a
No, also
similar-
I'll tell you what, Sandeep, the way I see it, this is very locationally driven kind of offers. Like, okay, he was mentioning about south of Bombay. I'll tell you another offer which is being discussed on Worli Seaface post this last transactions which have happened, where the society has shortlisted 3 listed developers and they're looking at about 94% of additional space.
Wow.
They're talking of about full rent upfront. They are asking for a ridiculous value of corpus. And they are also expecting a developer to have a complete CC as well as all the premium paid on the day one before they move out of the society. Earlier norm was what IOD CC आया, society के नाम पे आया, society moves out, right? Corpus का and rent maybe 12 months in advance and then, it's escalation, things like that. But now this kind of offers can only be commanded on a specific geography. Now, if I am somewhere in a by-lane, like a Forget Street in South Bombay or some other pocket in South Bombay, let's say maybe towards Gamdevi, am I going to get this kind of premium? No. My answer is no. Probably, So I think the metrics of doing 3,000 square feet apartment or a 5,000 square feet apartment is all boiling down to what size of location he is in South Bombay. If he's a seafront, definitely, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 square feet will work. But if he is non-seafront, he's in a by lane, he's in a, like a Sophia College lane.
2,500.
Yeah. So I think, then it would be probably 1,800 to a 2,500, 2,600 square feet apartment. So I think that's the variation which you would see in terms of price points even, So there you may have something which is a 2 lakh or a 200,000, 2.5 lakh. But then you will have a product which is at 80,000, 85,000 or a 1 lakh rupee sailing over there.
I personally think 2 lakhs and 2.5 lakhs is too far-fetched in my personal opinion because I don't see the market going to 2.5 lakhs the way things are right now. But
Correct.
that's a vision that the developer has, so you have to go with it for now at least.
Adding to the previous point, South Bombay, a lot of things that people actually don't talk about enough is how 200 meters, 300 meters actually changes the price of the particular development. Something like a Lodha Malabar, which is on the Valkeshwar Road, they're transacting more than 1,50,000 rupees, and you just two buildings chhod ke, you have something, the older buildings, they'll even give it to you at a 65, 70, 75,000. So, there's a big difference.
Adit, I'll tell you, me and Karl were just having this debate before we got into this discussion, where we were talking about a micro market. And Karl said that, यार मेरे तो कोई client जाएंगे नहीं तारदीप में. मैं अगर golden triangle बेच रहा हूँ तो golden triangle ही चाहिए. I said वही client वहाँ पर जाके बोलेगा कि ओबेरॉय का फ्लैट दे रहा हूँ तो तू पिच करेगा कि नहीं करेगा और जाएगा कि नहीं जाएगा. कार्ल बोलता है वो तो by default ओबेरॉय का नाम लेके जाएगा. So I think it's a game where it is a branded, but in brand also, what is that brand value? So even a brand value will make a big difference.
So I had this experience with Mahalakshmi, Godrej Mahalakshmi, because I was also so focused that no one's going to go to Sat Rasta and whatever. And I landed up doing 2-3 sales, and everyone who has bought in this Mahalakshmi project has all lives in Malabar and Napin Road and Altamont Road. And they're all young generation, of course, and they saw the project, they said, wow, what amenities, what...
So clearly younger generation is
absolutely
preferring more of these.
They want a holistic...
In fact, the developer was pushing me and saying, boss, why aren't you working with us? I said, boss, because I don't have that kind of clientele. I said, chal, I'll give it a shot. So I spoke to 4-5 people saying that, boss, instead of buying in an old building, at least open your eyes and come and see it.
Correct.
If you don't want to buy, it's fine. And luckily, whoever came and saw it, 8 out of 10 have transacted.
Yeah. Completely agree with Karl. It's old generation versus new generation. The older generation always wanted to stay in the golden triangle, unka dera sar baju mein, and they wanted to live around the community. But the newer generation is open. They are open to all ideas. They're like Tardev bhi dikhao, Mahalakshmi bhi dikhao, Napin Road bhi dikhao, Malabar bhi dikhao.
Absolutely.
Eventually, they want something which is value for money, and eventually they want their kids also to have the same set of people.
I'll add to what Adit said. I'll summarize it in a little different way. I would say that it's old money versus the new money. Now, when I say old money, historically, if you look at it, South Bombay, guys, it was the historic, inherited, classy, industrial kind of, businessmen staying there. So that's the kind of old school of thoughts. My ecosystem has to be, if I step down, everything has to be around my ecosystem, 5 minutes to my doctor, 5 minutes to my temple, 5 minutes to my relative. That's the thought process. Whereas the younger generation, the new wannabe who's extensively traveled the globe, who's got the newer fancies in life, he feels, yaar, 15 minutes chale jaunga, thoda lamba jayega, but at least I'll have my people around, I'll have amenities, I'll have a community living, I'll have interactions. So I think that's the big differential which has also happened between the old and the new. So it's the old money versus the new money.
So places like Malabar Hill, Valkeshwar, they're very dominated by certain communities. So I'll tell you one incident that actually happened, and my client was telling me this, that, in one of the buildings in Valkeshwar, the security guard or the watchman actually sees the order which is coming from Swiggy or Zomato. So they just check that उसमें कुछ non-vegetarian तो नहीं है, अगर है तो ऊपर नहीं भेजेंगे, something on those lines.
Which building is this? Let's know which building this is.
So I mean, it works for a lot of people. It is great, but it's very community driven. People know each other. A lot of times, apartments don't come to consultants or brokers like us. They actually are done internally only, because the community is so strong that way.
In fact, ये तो बहुत across country, across deals get done on WhatsApp. It's very common now these days, right? But coming back to an interesting point that Adit, you brought up, that there is now a branded developer and there is a boutique developer. Can we unpack this a little bit? What kind of products a boutique developer offers?
So boutique
what are these
developer,
configurations?
my opinion would be someone who's just done like 1-2 niche projects. Okay, may not be grade A as such. Like the guy who's done Central Park, right? That's a boutique developer. He's done a fantastic project that I feel is fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually
And he's
great.
got a second
Yeah.
project which is already in the pipeline and
It's
it's going to
weird,
deliver next year by mid 26. So that's a boutique developer. But a branded developer would be someone who's already done at least.
Branded we know, right? So
Yeah,
we
any
discussed
brand, exactly,
Raheja,
yeah, any Raheja,
Suntex,
Prestige.
Oberoi,
So I think
Prestige.
Sandeep,
But can you discuss
everybody's whether it is a boutique or a branded, most of the people really know that developers have really understood that बस quality देगा तो बिकेगा.
Yeah.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, right? If he does not give a quality, so I think whether it is a branded or a boutique, everybody is offering a similar quality. Now, yeah, if you get into a technical specs, what quality or what grade of cement or a steel or things, that definitely varies substantial between the two. If one has to really look at it, again, it's while you have the Mercedes and you've got the Maruti, both are operating at both are selling. So I think in this market, both are selling. I mean, it's
Yeah, so I'll tell you about boutique developments. The thing is that I'll tell you there are a few coming up in Babulnath. The way they develop it, they actually sell it off to 8-10 buildings around them who are staying in a 30, 40, 50-year-old building. They cater to those particular people itself, where they exactly know, okay, this is the carpet area. So internally they discuss this with their close set of people who are looking to buy, saying that, boss, aapko kya carpet chahiye, and based on that they'll come up with a 2.5, 3,500. And technically, before it's actually out in the market, it's their community
Yeah, it's
actually
already
takes
sold.
almost 60-70% of it.
Yeah.
So these are those boutique developers who are,
And from a pricing perspective, how do they compare to a branded? Can you give some examples or color on those?
they're definitely
Marginally cheaper, I would say, for sure.
Yeah. So I think in the range of around 20 to 30%.
Yeah, so per square foot,
Yeah.
what, 80,000 you would say?
Between 80,000 to 1 lakh,
80 to a lakh? Yeah,
80 to a lakh,
is what I would
depending on
say,
the
yeah.
views, location, floors that you
Yeah.
pick. So, and the branded
I
ones.
think location makes a huge difference for a per square foot rate also.
Yeah. Also the views make a big
Yeah, yeah,
difference.
of
Like specifically.
South Bombay is all about this.
So can you, for our audience, highlight some of these boutique names?
I would say Sila for sure.
There is Duleva, which is an emerging developer.
Takshil is there. Takshil, they do very really nice projects, and Sila of course is
Yeah.
a great product. Then you have Atlantis one and Central Park by the same developer. So you have a lot of these very nice boutique developments that not a lot of people know about, but they're actually selling very well.
Life spaces.
As you
Another
rightly
one
said,
to
the way
add.
they sell is also very strategically targeting a hyper-local market and pre-selling first and then reducing the risk also. But from what I understood is that if there is a boutique at 80,000 to 1 lakh, and then there is this branded which is 1.5 to, as Karl said, aspiring to get to 2.5 or the most expensive. From what I'm understanding, a lot of audience will be priced out of such projects, right? So what are you seeing? Are there any emerging locations in this market which cater to such audiences?
Yes, you will see, you will see Tardev getting developed. You will see Bombay Central getting developed. You will see the areas around the Lamington Road side of the Bombay which will get developed. Even if you see Kalba Devi, look at Kalba Devi as a pocket. There are large textile markets, right? Whether you talk of Mangaldas or you talk of Mulji Jetha or you talk of Swadeshi markets, So you will see those pockets getting developed. When they unlock, they are large cluster redevelopments which will come in. This will give you flexibility of doing all segments of development, whether it is small to a medium to a large, because that side of the town also offers you a fantastic view. Like we said, it's all about the view in South Bombay. Look at a development which is right next to a crematorium at Marine Lines, which did fantastically well.
Which project is this?
Ocean Towers. Prestige
Prestige
Towers.
Ocean Towers.
One marina, shade development. Shade development. Look at that. The kind of.
That's right next.
It's right next to it. It's a wall share. It's wall share, and that too, Hindu community dominated area.
For such a project to do well,
It's
what
done
is
very
the
well.
key? Is it pricing?
I think it's like Karl was saying. It's all about the view in South Bombay.
Is all about-
South Bombay is all about the view. It's
Actually not serious because this project is not doing that well with the whole construction loss and all that. Yeah.
It's doing well.
I don't think it's doing well at all.
No, it did pretty well.
No, I'm just saying that
He
the
must have
construction
sold,
has not
It's stalled
gone
for
the
a bit.
way it's supposed to go. So I mean,
It stalled for a bit.
Yeah,
from
it
what I
stalled for a bit.
understand.
But look at, if you drive down Marine Drive, you see quite a few developments, buildings standing right there. Now, these are all the pockets of Kalba Devi, Chira Bazaar, things like that. So these are all the pockets. Like Prestige Ocean Towers was a start point for a branded developer to really think through to come to that area. Now imagine the backside of it, and it is already covered by the metro network. The metro passes from there, right? So you look at the connectivity. Everybody not going to drive down. There will be some people who are still going to use the train and the metro and the buses. So I think this area opens up for that segment of people who really looking to buy, an average size apartment, probably 2 beds. We have not spoken about 2 beds at all.
So Prestige
no one
Ocean
is
Towers, in
built-
my opinion, is a perfect case study that brand and a developer matters a lot. It's not a typical Malabar Hill, nor
Yeah,
it's a
it's
Cuff
upper
Parade.
house.
It's somewhere in between.
Marine lines.
Yeah, marine lines. You don't have a lot of great products or developments happening around,
I
but
think
it
that's
actually
the only
positioned
one.
itself with amazing views. And Prestige as a brand is
Yeah.
so strong that they actually convince people that this can actually be
And from
the
a product
future.
perspective, also 2 BHKs and all.
They
No,
don't have
they
beds.
have 2,500.
So this caters to the high end of the segment in that area. What if you look at the shade development? It caters to another segment, which is one down. Probably if there is an A, there is B or a C, which is what it caters to.
There are a couple of buildings which are coming up not too far from here. They're selling in the range of 45,000 rupees per square feet. New developments, but smaller carpet, 700, 800 square feet carpet.
So such supply is also
Yeah, and it's selling very well.
So are there any smaller configurations like 2 BHKs also in this market?
Yeah, of course. Not too far away, there is Shripati Developers, Sankesh. These guys are typically coming up with 800 to 1,000 square feet and transacting in the range of around 50,000 rupees per square feet. So, sabke liye hai, whatever. It just depends on the location.
The project which we spoke about, the Shade Marina, I think that also they've got 2 beds. Even Ajmera Life spaces which are doing other developments, they have 2 beds. So I think there's enough for everybody to enjoy.
So in the discussion, we briefly touched upon Coastal Road, but how do you guys think what has this Coastal Road done for SoBo? Because I think it was losing out to say the Lower Parel Worli market.
It's reduced the commute to begin with. There's a rumor, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but there's a road that's going to connect to Nariman Point as well. So Nariman Point actually was pretty down in terms of pricing last 2-3 years, and now has again shot up big time in terms of outright and in terms of rental per square foot. And again, there's a big challenge in getting supply in Nariman Point. A lot of people want to again move to Nariman Point. Earlier a lot of people had moved to BKC. Now again the mindset has come back that people want to come back to Nariman Point. So the Coastal Road has been a great game changer.
What's the time now to go from say a BKC or a Worli to?
So I'll give you, I stay at Juhu and I traveled, my office is at Lower Parel, right? And my major work is South Bombay. For me, with Coastal Road, now I can time my travel. That's the big game changer.
What's
which
that
I
time?
So I would say if I'm from Bandra, let's say end to end, 20 minutes from Bandra, as soon as I get onto the ceiling till Nariman Point, 20-25 minutes at max.
But the Coastal Road is typically for people who own private cars. But do you know what is going to actually change this game? Is
The metro.
the Aqua Line
Yeah.
3. It typically from Andheri, you can reach Nariman Point in
Cuff
typically
Parade and
50,
Nariman
55
Point.
minutes.
Yeah,
And,
definitely. At
And
least
that
for the
is
staff, it's
actually
going
to
to
change
absolutely
commute for
awesome.
a lot of, for a common man who's...
In fact, the metro station is right in the heart of Nariman Point.
And you are seeing a
So I think
revival.
commercial revival, I think Coastal Road, as well as, the way I see it with the change, with the connectivity with ATAL SETU and with airport, in case shift, as we are hearing that it is shifting that part of town, Navi Mumbai, right? I see a lot of emerging pockets towards the Kolaba Cuff even. The new Marine Lines offices will again start coming back to its charm. It has already come, to a certain extent, but it's still not reached that high point. I think there's still a room for them to, go up. I would see pockets which are towards the JJ flyover belt or towards the Sivri side of the belt. I see a lot of new commercial opportunities which will come, and this will be large players entering there because there's still a lot of land which is yet to unlock. BPT is holding a large chunk of land. If that gets unlocked, the whole story of Marina, which the government has as a vision, if that opens up, I think South Bombay is going to see something very different. That pocket has been always been a deprived pocket. People generally don't talk about it. People always leave it away because at the end of it, they are BPT के पास है, किसका है, कहाँ जाएगा. I think, but all this land.
So there's a lot of redevelopment happening in South Bombay, but there are 3 pockets where nothing is going to change. That is Marine Drive, Colaba and Fort, because these actually come under the UNESCO heritage sites.
Heritage precinct.
So basically, even if you make something new, it has to be of the same design and the same height as well. So that's something which with so much.
It will
Also,
stand the test of-
Colaba Kafre, there's a rule that you can't go up a certain height because you have the Navy and the Army very close by. So I think you can't go in the radius of 500 meters. Basically, if you're redeveloping a building, there's a certain height restriction. So you can't go have a tall skyscraper the way you can have in like a Worli or a Malabar Hill, basically. So that adds a lot of challenges as well for a developer.
But I beg to differ that things will change. It is all about the policies and the needs of the people. So I think it will change. You look at it. The classic example is you already had Worli Sea Face. There's a rifle right there, rifle shoot area. There was a challenge. There are developments rights touching to this world. Another example I'll tell you, Kandivali, where you have the military area. You've got developments by the branded players, wall sharing with it. Wall sharing, right? So I think it's
a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
So it's not going to happen
nearly now, but
maybe.
Till the time you have it, you just enjoy it. More on those lines.
Yeah.
Interesting. So guys, great to hear or unpack a lot of these stories. Would love to understand, right? So we've discussed a lot of things, but particularly focusing on the challenges that this market faces. Right? What according to you are the challenges, or what could be potential downsides in this market is what I would love to understand from you guys.
So from the rental front, I think the demand is much higher than the supply that's available in the market in the rental front in apartments. And a lot of apartments that are available also are not really kept to a top standard to even ask the kind of rental that they are quoted at. And a lot of owners even refrain from redoing their apartments. So many times we tell the owners that spend some money, redo it, we'll get you a higher rental. But they have this mindset that this is what it is. I maximum spend maybe a few lakhs on it, get the house painted, polish, basic deep clean, and that's it. The rest is on the tenants.
I agree with
Karl.
Quality of rental homes, not only in South Bombay, everywhere in Bombay is poor, but specifically South Bombay because you have the so-called HNIs or the wealthy people there. You have an apartment worth almost $1 million, 8, 9, 10 crores there, but people don't want to spend even 5-7 lakhs for the better upkeep of their house, and it's their own asset.
True.
Like it's not that the money is going away somewhere. आपका खुद का घर है, so spend. I'm not saying every owner is like this, but you still
come
have
come
across a lot of people who don't want to spend that kind of money. And I feel that as compared to the West, quality of rental homes in India have to get better. And this, for me, is actually a great business opportunity for someone starting up, where you just come across, you come up with 3 different plans for your kitchen, washrooms, and the basic light fittings, and then you just customize this or have those things for.
So the most basic thing in an apartment that any client looks for, like he said, is a good kitchen and good washrooms. That's it.
And lighting.
So people are.
Firstly, on a rental front, the women of the household or the girls who will come, they'll see the apartment first. If they like it, then they'll bring their husbands to see it. So that's basically how it works. And so basically for them, the main thing they look at is always how good the kitchen is, how good the washrooms are, and it has to have a staff washroom. That is a very crucial thing today, because everyone has live-in staff. People have children, they have nannies, this, that. So they need that extra space for their staff.
So, one of the husbands actually rejected one building. We actually showed it for rent because the lift was too slow. So those are also problems that, some buildings.
Bad quality rental supply
is a big challenge.
Big problem, and that is also, as in the initial part we discussed, that redevelopment ke liye bhi logistical challenge.
And some clients also reject flats on Vastu, just to add that to it. Even
that's I think Pan Bombay.
Yeah.
But relatively, the upkeep is much poorer compared to even say Bombay, where because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can have a lot of new supply in rest part of the Bombay. right? So,
Yeah.
People just pay for the location. They actually don't pay for the apartment. कि मैं Malabar Hill में रहता हूँ, but apartment जैसा भी 19-20 वो चल जाता है मेरे को that way. So I feel this has to improve. One big challenge I personally feel is the whole vibe of South Bombay of a Malabar Hill is going to go away with so much redevelopment happening. The whole reason why, back in the day people moved there was, staying far away from the suburbs, the workers, the mill land, and people felt that there Shanti hai, it's much greener, cleaner air, and that is actually going to go away with so much redevelopment happening in the whole.
So like
the
a
whole
I will agree to a certain extent with you, but to a large extent I will disagree also, and I will tell you why. Like we touched, a lot of newer generation wants to go move towards the other part to a larger amenity. But while we talk of redevelopment, really redevelopment हो रहा है क्या? We are just talking.
जी होगा आज नहीं तो 15 साल बाद होगा.
नहीं बस you need to understand that कितने execution में जाएगा. We are in a cycle, right? अभी सब अच्छा दिख रहा है. All the numbers are looking fancy. It is very easy to give the numbers, to make the offer, sign it, get the building in your name. I mean, but construction चालू कब होगा? Process कहाँ पहुँचेगा?
Plus, even constructing on a hill.
Constructing on a hill. How much time? 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. Let's look at it as a larger time duration. तो वो phase में अगर बनेगा नहीं बनेगा कैसे बनेगा? I think that's too much subjective. If you look at suburbs, right, there are so many buildings which went under the first phase of redevelopment and are still stuck till today. You don't know where the developer is. Okay, fine. Today, most branded developers are coming, or boutique developers are financially strong. Back in the days, there used to be a bank guarantee given on a redevelopment. Today, is anybody talking about it? It's not. So, I mean, we are all talking subjective. कि ये आएगा ये साइन कर रहा है वो साइन कर रहा है कितना एग्जीक्यूशन में जाएगा कितना
It's a big question mark.
It's a big question mark. So it's going, you don't know whether any क्या आने वाला है. It's kind of a story which is just being created. It's like a bubble which we are creating, and all of us are talking about it, and all of us are part of it. That is the best part of it. So I don't know. I feel that way. Okay, South Bombay is a very different geography. Futuristic point of view right now, while everything looks good, we said it, location, views, but कितना कहाँ develop होगा, कैसे जाएगा, is my question.
I feel it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. If not after 5 years, then maybe after 10 or
See, the
15
building
years.
life for a lot of buildings is deteriorating.
Yeah.
So instead of renovating
It's
the
a
building again,
requirement.
so
Yeah.
it's a requirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a requirement
instead of
to agree.
spending crores and renovating the building, you rather just break it down
Correct.
and build a brand new structure.
So, Karl, in that sense, there was the government came with a scheme of self-redevelopment, right? And a lot of South Bombay guys are also exploring this.
Yeah.
I know, in fact, some of the buildings on Little Gibbs Road, which is talking about self-redevelopment because there are only 3 or 4 owners owning the whole building.
Yeah.
Multiple apartments in the same building. So they are thinking of that.
Yeah.
Now, if all that things happen, yes, then there is a different story. But like the problem we said, get like Suntech we spoke about, or whatever examples we spoke about, right? To get so many people, to get things together, from the time you sign to the time to get out. बस पहला क्या? पहले sign करूँ, पहले ये करूँ. It's like, typical round and round, chicken egg story है कि बस पहले क्या आएगा? So we are in that kind of a situation. So it's, and then you don't know. And then you don't know कि भाई अपना markets चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. Tomorrow something geopolitically happens. The whole sentiment, see, South Bombay is a very market-driven sentiment. All of us will agree. Where is the major chunk of money coming from your buyer?
Right.
Whatever you must have sold, whatever I have sold, where is the money? Equity से आ रहा है या तो उसने कुछ बेचा और upgrade कर दिया. पूरा नया equity डाल के तो I don't think anybody is done transaction, right? Everybody is using the money and circulating the money. Now, one geopolitical situation, the guy cannot take an exit, or his positions are in a bad state. Where are we hitting? So we don't know.
This is one unique situation, right?
Yeah.
So you said, so because we're discussing key redevelopment may or may not happen, it's subjective and it's a bullish phase that we're talking about, but as soon as we get into a down cycle, it may not happen. But one interesting case where I think redevelopment may, in particular instance where I know it's reported in the media through us only, that Rekha Junjunwala bought a complete building to save her sea view.
Yeah.
That building will not get redeveloped.
Correct.
Right? So So there will be people who will also make sure that some buildings will never get redeveloped because it may hurt their
view
or their preferential.
Absolutely.
It is very, very unique.
But it also be a nuisance for a lot of people, like these high net worth individuals are living in these buildings and you have construction noise coming throughout the day.
They may not want it, so they may
Massive nuisance to people.
they may actually buy it.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
So if Uday Kotak can buy a full building,
Exactly.
right next to his bungalow, just to avoid nuisance of
So Birla also bought right next to his bungalow a building to knock it down and make a garden, an open space for himself instead of building another building.
When you have that kind of wealth, you
you
can
have
do
that kind of
anything.
stuff. Yeah.
And that is possible here only. Right?
Yeah, that is possible here only.
In this market, because I don't want construction.
Yeah.
Let me buy this one
Absolutely.
at 200 crores.
Absolutely.
I don't like my neighbor. Let me buy the house from him and this.
Amazing, right?
Amazing, man. Amazing. This is great, right? So
Right.
I think we've discussed a whole, the whole market.
Right.
Thanks for sharing so much insights. Now let's move to a third section that we have, wherein we want you guys to share a unique story that gives our consumers or the viewers a flavor of what all unique things can happen in the market.
Right.
So why don't you start, Ritesh?
I've got quite a few to tell you.
Oh.
So I'll tell you, I mean, 10 years of experience, 14 years of experience, we've dealt with varied kind of people, but I'll give you some classic ones. We sold half a building in South Bombay, and the other half of the building was also sold to a fund. Building, eventually the land had a dispute and the building did not come up for whatever reason. So we were negotiating with a developer, but because there was a fund which was owning the half the building, we could not get that building. We even went to the extent saying, "Bas humko building de do, hum bana ke denge." The client was to that extent. वो नहीं हुआ. This battle went on for almost like good 2 years, back and front. Eventually, we negotiated with a developer, and you'd be surprised, I went out of Bombay, where he had his other projects, went and bought his clubhouses.
Wow.
I bought his banquet hall. We converted that banquet hall into a commercial space. Got the approvals done into the commercial space, and then we sold that commercial space out. That's how we got exit out of that project. That's one which I can tell you. Another one which I can tell you, I was actually, I was working on a launch again in South Central Bombay, and I was actually with a client who was in suburb whom I had sold something, and we were sitting and we were talking. I went to drop him back to his house because he said, "Chal meko ghar chhod de." I went to drop him. His house help was not there. So eventually like, कहाँ जा रहा है? मतलब मैं लॉन्च के लिए जा रहा हूँ, इंस्पेक्शन है, कोई आने वाला क्लाइंट, चल मैं भी चलता हूँ साथ में. I said, चल मेरे को क्या है? Like, if you don't have a problem, I'll tag along, but don't give my name. Just I'll tag you, take me as your colleague. I said, ठीक है, चलो. We went over there. The client whom I was expecting, he came. We finished the inspection. At the end of it, the client who actually came did not buy, and this gentleman, my friend, this client bought it. So if you destined to do the deal to happen, it just happens. Certain times. So it's like
that's in broking. You have clients who don't buy for years.
Yeah.
and then you just buy. So I mean, so there's a few two stories which I have.
Good, interesting stories. Adit?
So I have a couple of stories. So one of my clients, so there is this development in Hiranandani, it's called Lodha Bellagio. So when they launched this roughly 2.5 years back, they didn't have enough space in the building to have a sales office. So in the neighboring compound, they took an office for 3 years, saying that jab tak building banega, we'll start selling from here. So one of my clients was very interested in buying that particular office, Lodha Bellagio, because they had leased it out from a particular individual. So I told him that, listen, we can actually go check out that office, but you have to act dumb. You have to play along with me. We can't tell them that we've actually come to see the office. We have to go as if we have come to understand Lodha Bellagio as a project. So he said, okay, let's go. We went inside. We had a quick look at the entire office. He absolutely loved it. He told me that, let's go and, speak to the owner after this. I was like, sure. I was like, we've come all the way. So आपको 5 minutes तो इनको मिलना पड़ेगा, वरना it won't look good. So he's like, अच्छा 5 minutes बैठ जाते हैं. So the sales manager started pitching the product to him. After 5 minutes, I gave him that look that, boss, like, time to leave, ho gaya aapka, apna kaam ho gaya tha. So then he's like, just wait, we'll do that. So that thing continued for the next 45 minutes. After that, his wife and him took me aside and told him, yaar, ye office ko chodo, let's book 2 apartments in this particular building. So he ended up buying 2 big houses in that particular building because he absolutely loved it.
Again,
So
destiny, eh?
it's all destiny. So what I
Amazing.
feel is, my younger self, I never believed in destiny. I just felt that everything was in my control. The older I grew, I just realized everything is destiny.
Planned out for you.
Life partner, buying a home, it's all destiny. So even if you don't get something that you want, don't worry. There is something always better in store for you.
I agree with that.
Very
Yeah.
Good point.
One more story, and typically this is about a project in Malabar Hill. So we do a lot of digital activities around, showing clients different homes. So one of the projects that we actually had listed on our Instagram, we had mentioned our email ID and phone number. And then randomly I got one email from a client saying that I am interested in visiting this place. I spoke to my colleagues. I was like, यार इतने क्लाइंट को फ़ोन करते वो लोग उठाते तो है नहीं हमारा फ़ोन, सुनते तो है नहीं, कोई सामने से थोड़ी अपने को ईमेल करेगा that I want to buy this house. So we candidly asked him that, please share your phone number, email ID, we'll get in touch with you, explain you the project. He's like, I'm actually spammed by a lot of brokers. You share the Google location with me. I will see you at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So I was like, okay. And then I just told my colleague that, listen, yaar, I think this is all fake. मैं तो नहीं आ रहा हूँ, but you just go visit. And if it's good, then we'll see. More than being good, I at least pray that this guy turns up there. क्योंकि वो पक्का भी नहीं था. He ended up coming with his entire family. He understood the project. He told my colleague, मैं 4 या 5 साल से I was looking for this exact configuration with these views, but I was not getting anything. I really like it. मेरी meeting कराओ. Next day we met the developers and he finalized this. So in a matter of 24 to 36 hours, he actually closed the deal. And I was actually feeling bad for a lot of other brokers who showed him for the last 4-5 years.
Amazing.
But then I just
So that's
realized that
again
life is
destiny.
it's all destiny,
That's
and just
destiny.
life comes a full
Yeah.
circle. So we've had
मतलब just a mail
No,
can be
the big learning is not to have preconceived notion and prejudices on the inquiries. You don't know when it happens. You don't know what happens.
इतना rejection देख लिया that वो कभी-कभी hope ही खत्म हो जाती है, and then you feel कि it's too good to be true.
Very
So
clear.
one lesson that is clearly coming out, and this is a lesson for all, is that brokerage करना है तो बस persistence and never give up.
Never give up.
ये
Never
किया
give up.
तो deal गया.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think you need to be honest, transparent, ethical, because
Of
the
course,
people that you're
Yeah, yeah.
dealing
Truth
with
is
are
very
much,
important.
I feel that, they've
Yeah,
seen the
trust.
world and they can see through you.
Trust
as an
is a very
individual.
big
Specifically
factor.
in a high value segment that you
Yeah, I think
target.
trust is a
No,
very
it's
big
not
factor.
about high value
I
also.
think because
Even on a smaller. Now, like if you're transacting, like during COVID phases, right? We had cases where we had transacted for people in Thane. And eventually the husband passes away. Now, wife is taking over the whole matter and she does not have any clue what was happening. Where is the bank loan coming from? I mean, there was another friend who was helping. But eventually, the matter is that if I did not know what was happening or how the transaction had happened, I wouldn't have able to bail her out from the whole issue. So I think it is very important on the transparency, relationships, being honest to what you're doing is the key.
Yeah, it's very, very important also because, for your 1 or 2%, you can't put their 100% online. That's my simple funda. Like, you have to give them the right advice, you have to be a friend. And also this market in general, real estate brokerage has always been a market which has not got a lot of trust, very cluttered. And, people always say, ये तो हमको ये चिपकाने वाला है. So that has been the attitude for the longest time. So when they meet someone who's genuine, it's a pleasant surprise for them also. Okay, yaar, what's happening.
Karl, your story.
So Sandeep, as you know, I do majorly resale, 80% resale. So every resale transaction has its challenges and none of them are straight. They all have some zigzag route to the end. Yeah, it's a hustle. So to start off with, firstly, there are always challenges in the sense that first, there's a lawyer that's always come in from the buyer side. And the lawyer throws a 3-page requisition list. So there are like 40 queries out there only straight. half the papers sometimes the sellers don't have. They've lost their original documents or they just are completely clueless about it. People are unfortunately very unorganized. Some are organized, but majority of them are unorganized. Then you have to run helter skelter. You have to go to the society. You have to try and retrieve the document. You have to do a title search. You have to go back all the way to the 80s to see, okay, have these documents been registered? There's a lot of process that go into it. A resale transaction at least takes 2 to 3 months minimum. As a primary thing is a much more faster, quicker process. Primary, you literally go show the apartment and then the developer's got his standard format and this is what it is, sign the dotted line and you're set. Here, it's a very different process. In fact, when I tell people who are doing primary and I tell them doing secondary, they laugh and they say, boss, you're gassawing so much, literally, and I'm making 10x of what you're doing by just taking one visit. Of course, it's luck end of the day, but there's a lot of time spent in a resale transaction. So that in itself is a very unique way of the real estate market. Like I said, so in a resale transaction, there are a lot of processes. So once you do a public notice, so you spend 14 days in that, and you have to wait if any complaints or anything come. Now, in a very recent case in our organization, the lawyers put a public notice, and this is the first time I'm seeing this. There were objections straight out from the building on not one count. There were like
Society
five
members?
Yeah, society
Yeah.
members.
Wow.
Like 5 different counts. There were objections. So the buyer was completely like shocked. He's like, dude, I cannot believe that this has happened because
You're staying there.
They're
and complaining.
complaining.
so he completely got cold feet and he's like, boss, I'm not going ahead with this. And fair to him, of course. So he kind of backed out of the whole thing. So all the effort that went into even getting him to see the apartment and to negotiate and get there, everything just got down the drain. It went wasted, basically. Yeah.
First time I'm hearing that
Yeah.
society members are driving
Yeah.
new buyers.
It's a one-off situation, but it happened.
Yeah.
So like I said, so in resale, so a lot of times people have lost the original documents. So then you have to go to the cop station, which is the closest one to your area. You have to file an FIR. You have to sign a form. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, and only then can you proceed ahead with the transaction. So it's not very.
You've seen all this.
Yeah, so we've been through the entire process. We've actually handheld the client because the client doesn't know sometimes what to do. So they need someone to kind of handhold them and take them through this whole process. But I would like to say that through this hustle and all, we've still managed to kind of come to the finish line and kind of close the transaction. A lot of time there's an ego tussle between two, lawyers actually. One lawyer,
The client's lawyers
the
are-
lawyers are the
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they will see the seniority. Now, if one guy, the buyer's lawyer, is a junior lawyer and the seller's a senior lawyer, then it's mandatory that you have to go to the seller's lawyer only, or his office only. They will not kind of entertain you in his office. Basically, there are a lot of
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
like
lot of protocol. It's protocol. Yeah, it's protocol. Basically,
it's like an arranged marriage setup. It's like an arranged marriage
And then
setup where two families
it's
are
very
meeting
hard-
each other.
It's very hard to get 100% crystal title. So there's some things that you have to bend on. You may have to take indemnities or something or the other, but you have to kind of bend on a couple of things, which the lawyer will only have to kind of suck up and move ahead and close the transaction. It also depends how fast the person wants to go ahead and close it, because it's not, like I said, it's not so straightforward like a primary sale, where primary you just want
You said the right word. Proper
Yeah.
घिसना पड़ता है
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
transaction.
So anyone's
That's all.
looking for resale houses in South Bombay,
Yeah, you can
Karl is a
call me,
person.
It's basically bigger the transaction, the bigger are the egos on the table.
True.
Whether it is a lawyer or it is a client, and it's
Yeah.
all about managing.
Yeah, it's managing
them.
people's ego.
So
I
that's
think
why
something
if you
that-
really look at it, our tagline says it. Managing expectations.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about. So it's all about how do you manage and how do you sail through. Whether it's primary, secondary, both the places, this challenges is what we have seen all throughout.
So a lot of times where you have to swoop into the transaction when there's like it's happened last couple of months, where there's an ego tussle between both the clients, and you have to swoop in and you have to kind of like settle it between them, like be an arbitrator in that kind of sense.
They don't even
Kind
want
of
to
like
talk.
just
They
piss
don't
off,
even want to talk. Then
Yeah,
you'll
because in 3
both
months
are-
things can
both are-
Yeah.
sometimes things can just get ugly with some kind of friction, and then your whole transaction can jeopardize. So it's your loss. I mean, you put in all your effort, so you have to sweep in, you have to kind of settle that issue, kind of, I wouldn't say massage the ego, but you must kind of manage the person's expectation, right? And then kind of do the transaction after that.
So that's very important. Before a resale transaction, the comfort between the buyer and seller is the foremost important thing. Everything else, then the transaction, how to get it done is just a byproduct. two people need to trust each other, and that is a reality for resale transactions in India, that trust or faith ke baghair kuch bhi nahi ho
But that's
sakta
where
hai.
the realtor also comes in, because they
Yeah.
know that there's a middleman
Correct.
there who's there
Who's
to
the-
kind of balance the whole transaction out.
So great to hear this experience
Yeah.
of the innumerable things that can go wrong in a resale transaction.
Right.
So great to hear that. Now I think we will move to our concluding section, wherein I would want you to highlight some of the projects that you like in this market,
Right.
and why, so that our listeners and viewers can gain from that.
I'll start. Project which I like probably in this micro market, I would say 30 Little Gibbs.
Yeah.
Fantastic location, apt size, very good gentry of bias. I think it exactly meets most of the local buyers' requirement. Developer, very good, very friendly, very transparent. Unlike the other developers, I think experience dealing with them, transparency is something which probably I wouldn't have seen with some of the large players even. So I think I would rate that as a number one product in this micro
What's
market.
the rate per square feet there?
Hovering around 125.
Yeah.
125.
It's a great development. It's one of those boutique, real good developments on Little Gibbs
The
Road.
location also
Location
fabulous.
is top, and the views are outstanding. It's
Yeah.
open on 3 sides, so it's, I think, our favorite. I think the three of us will agree with.
All of us will buy.
But any other?
So Ocean Towers probably would be the second one, which I would say that it does match the expectations in sense of, again, apt size, newer location, new location, but caters to a larger audience of South, because it does attract people from Kolaba, Cuff, Marine Drive, even, while Kolaba Cuff guys, seeing them to come towards Malabar Hill is far-fetched, So this, I think, as a central product, I think probably they would, you would able to add more.
So basically, there are a couple of projects I personally love. If you're looking at the whole Mahalakshmi Tardev belt, there is 25 downtown, which is absolutely a blockbuster. This is Mumbai's answer to DLF Camellias, that has golf course and everything. It faces the Willingdon golf course. Amazing views. Great carpet sizes, 3.5 to 5,000 square feet. If this project actually turns out to be the way they are seeing it, it's going to be a blockbuster development. This is my personal take. So they've already sold almost 3 towers out of the 4 that they have launched, and currently they are almost transacting at 80 or 1,000 rupees per square feet. It was a bit cheaper, but with so much of apartments selling, they have increased the price. But I still feel it's a great
24, 25 crore ticket to start.
Yeah, at least to start off with. That is great. The second development I personally like, it's a old, not a new development, but an old one. It's called Bishopgate. It's
By Peninsula, right?
Yeah, correct. It's by
Breach
Peninsula, Breach Candy, that way. So that is something which I absolutely love. Of course, it gets, it doesn't get so much attention because it is right next to the Singhania house. So the focus is always on the Raymond building. But I think this is a great development, which I personally love. The reasons I love it is clear sea views, unobstructed sea views. I'm a big fan of duple apartments in general. So, I love duples. So, you have the provision of...
There isn't much duple as such in Sunlight.
In fact, today there's been an article in the paper talking about the duple sale.
Correct, right? So
It's right there today, which talks about...
enough supply that is being planned, or large 3,500, 4,000 square feet floor plates, but not...
So I think two distinct category of buyers, but yes, duples are limited because predominantly the historic thought process of a developer was the penthouse used to be the duplex.
Correct. Only
The top
only
tier
for themselves.
for themselves. So I think, but with the time of while you are under construction, I've had an experience of developer converting a regular simplex into a duple. Multiple duples I have done that way. So
customize कर देते हैं.
This is good.
So good. So duple is a
And the third one that I like is Central Park. which offers, it's a combination of the old school South Bombay charm, but in a new development. One of the only few new developments that have ramp parking. Because that has always
the
been a
land-
struggle
yeah,
in
true.
South Bombay, because the land passes
So
is
small.
so small that you have
Lift
lift parking or
elevator
something like
parking,
that. So
yeah,
from that point
true.
of view, great development, roughly 3,500 square feet, starting at 40 odd crores, and it's a ready to move in. I mean, we talk about a lot of future mein ye aayega, wo aayega, but this is something
Yeah.
aapke samne hai. You pay the money and you can actually go and move
It's a
into
good
the
building.
house.
Karl, your picks.
My picks, I'm going to talk about some of the older developments. I like talk about
Resale.
Yeah, resale. So one of them will definitely be Seaface Park at Beach Candy. It's one of the few buildings that has so much open land. Plus, it's got a beautiful sea view, and now you have the coastal road as well. Nice size apartments. You have about 3-bedroom apartments. They are trading at about, I would say, a lakh plus a square foot. In fact, more than a lakh a foot now. And one more development I'll highlight is Hill Park, which I don't know if anyone knows. Yeah, exactly.
it's
Hill
great.
Park is a jewel in the crown. It's like a hidden jewel in the crown, actually. It's at Malabar Hill. It's got small buildings. It's got 2 bedrooms and 3-bedroom apartments. Basic sizes are from 1,700 to 2,000 square feet. The only catch is, to stay in that complex, you need to be a corporate or a company. They're very anal about that. Like you and me tomorrow, we're going to be kicked out, straight out.
We cannot, he can.
Yeah,
He can.
Maybe you can. But it's absolutely an outstanding complex. It's really quiet, peaceful, and it's right in the heart of Malabar Hill. It's got a huge garden that every apartment overlooks, right? And it's also got other amenities. May not have a swimming pool, but the apartments are nicely designed. And I think it's one of the best complexes, in my opinion, in the heart of South Bombay.
Yeah. I think we've forgotten to add one blockbuster development, which is Lodha Malabar, that we always speak about. So if Worli has a Namanzana, then Malabar Hill has a
He's
Lodha
biased to
Malabar.
Lodha.
Yeah. So
So coming to Lodha Malabar, right? There's one question that I want to ask all of you guys. Which project do you think will command, or which set of projects do you think will command the highest price in the next 3-5 years, and what that number could be? Each one
He's
take a
al-
shot.
Karl has already given the number 2.5-3 lakhs a square foot.
Which projects is also the question.
I'm quite biased to the Prestige Nautilus project, to be honest with you. I like it personally a lot. I think the location is great. I think the design of the project is great. The sizes are amazing. Like I said, it's in the luxury segment. It's got a 3,500 square foot to a 7,000 square foot. I think that project in the next 4-5 years should command close to maybe 2 lakhs a foot.
yeah.
That's what I personally feel. But not all depends how the market moves. But yeah.
Pleasant Palace. And what price do you think?
If Karl says Prestige Nautilus at 2 lakhs, probably this will definitely surpass the 2 plus. Being for a South Bombay location, offering you the great views, app sizes, gentry of people, top notch, equal at par with Nautilus.
Yeah,
So I think just because of the sheer location and the brand, definitely both are equally strong brands. I think Pleasant Palace would definitely be a contender.
I
think he's biased to Lodha Malabar.
Yeah,
I think,
I think-
he sold a few flats there also. I think. That's why he's saying it with so much of conviction.
I think Lodha Malabar is going to be the next iconic building, and I think it's going to be a legacy building for the next 30, 40, 50 years. You know, people are going to talk about Lodha Malabar, how people talk about Samudra Mahal and all the other buildings. So I feel that is going to be an iconic building, and on Worli Sea Face, I feel Namansana. These two are going to be the face of luxury real estate, at least for the next decade or so, in my opinion.
So there's also Godrej Carmichael Road, which is a niche standalone building, good floor size, about 5,000 odd square feet. That also is definitely already commanding 1.7 lakhs a foot.
Yeah.
So I definitely see that by the time it's ready to go 2 plus for sure.
Even JSW has one
true.
alongside.
So
these are the developments that...
Any concluding buyer tips that you think you want to
Contact us.
Given that
Buyer tips is, if
buyer tips which attract them to you.
if you're looking at resale, speak to Karl. If you're looking at primary, speak to Ritesh Ji and Adit.
I think that's the best tip.
Yeah, honestly, this.
Anything that you
I think the key on the buyer tip will be, if I have to say it, doodle what you are entering into. Till the time you don't sign, you are the king. The day you sign, you are the square. So think twice before signing. You know, whether check, do your due diligence, brainstorm with your family. It's a one-time buy. Make a right decision, and speak to a good advisor.
Yeah, I think I'll go with what he says.
Yeah,
But
I think typically, in my opinion, the market are going to get stagnated. I feel there's going to be a big difference in terms of the normal supply and the good supply that we've always spoken about. The premium good developments are always going to rise. The other ones which are not that good are going to get stagnated. And of course, then buyers are going to come to you and tell that, "Arey, ye building mein dekho yehi price hai." But they're not going to eventually like that building. So the good supply and the normal supply, there's going to be a difference. I feel that broader level, the markets are going to grow at 4-5% per annum, and the good developments are going to grow at almost 7-8-9-10%.
so like Ritesh said, it's a one-time buy. It's your future home. I would say at least explore everything. Don't be in a rush or in a hurry to kind of buy something. A lot of new supply is also coming out in the market. So kind of weigh your pros and cons on all the projects and then take a...
Any tips, because you specifically also cater to a lot of sellers and renting aspects. Any tips for them, sellers?
So sellers basically now...
Because price expectation...
So to manage, so from the resale perspective, there's a certain amount of negotiation that does happen. A person can start at an X price but land up at a X minus 10% price, for example. So sellers are right now a little more receptive to that because they want to knock up. A lot of sellers have been holding on to inventory for a long time as well, and now I've got fed up and I want to sell and move on in life and kind of reinvest that money for their future generation. So we have a lot of those sellers that we are catering to as well. We have a lot of sellers that we actually do represent. And from a rental perspective, I personally feel right now the rental market is at such a point where I don't see it coming down for a couple of years, right? A lot of people are even renewing their current apartments because they're so scared, and a lot of owners actually are telling. So how a rental market works is there's a 5% annual escalation as per the standard inflation, but the owners are just, after the lock-in periods are getting over, owners are just coming to their licensees and just hiking up the rent by 35-40%. And people are just in shock that what do we do? Like it's starting from X and now you're at X plus 40. I mean, it was not calculated for. And if they don't kind of renew that, then already the market is so hot right now that someone else is willing to take over the apartment. So the rental market is completely heated right now in that kind of a segment.
And again,
so I see this trend, and I see the rental market like that till this redevelopment, all this happens for sure.
Redevelopment euphoria doesn't end. The rental market is going to be the byproduct and enjoying the game. I think that's what
everywhere else has gone up post COVID. I mean, you see across all
because redevelopment is across.
redevelopment is across. So
as that new supply comes up, then there will be correction. Because once the new supply gets ready, then tenants are going to move out.
But that's going to take a long time, right? That's what we're discussing. At least 3-5 cycle we are looking at.
In some markets that supply will get ready. In this market, I think it's still early.
Very early.
It's early.
It's early.
There was, in fact, there hasn't been any supply for a long time, right? In this market as such. So with this,
absolutely,
I think it's exciting times ahead for everyone. It's going to be exciting for a lot of developments that are coming up.
Given that it was like as a person who was looking at from a much broader perspective, not operating as such, right? We used to think of this market as a dead market, right? Kuch ho nahi raha hai. Suddenly there's a
lot of action.
There's a lot of action, and there's a lot of action for everyone. Let's be honest about it. You don't need to tread anyone's toes.
Good note to end, right?
Everyone's got enough. Everyone's got enough to fill their plates.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hope you've enjoyed the session as much as we did. If you've liked it, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.